Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to your new Jackrabbit Illustrated B-Team spin-off show.
Scared money don't make money.
That's right, folks. Scared money don't make money. The spin-off show from the B-Team with Ben and Brendan making their picks against the spread just like old times, with the addition of Alex Kenkel and his computer model that is featured weekly on JackrabbitIllustrated.com. As usual, the B-Team and all Jackrabbit Illustrated podcasts are live on the Jackrabbit Illustrated Facebook and Twitter pages, along with being live on the SDS Fans Nation YouTube channel. Also, if you don't catch us live, be sure to tune in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or any major podcast outlet in between. As always, the B-Team is brought to you by our title sponsor, Kubota Dealers of South Dakota. If you need a tractor, utility vehicle, construction equipment, zero-turn motors, parts, service, and more, there's always a Kubota dealer near you with 8 locations across the great state of South Dakota. Stop in today and get yourself into some orange equipment. And we would also like to thank our segment sponsor, Cubby's Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Brookings. If the Jacks are out of town and you need a place to watch them, head on down, get some Chislick cheese curds, beer, and burgers. And now, without further ado, scared money don't make money.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I would also like to add, because I haven't fixed the intros yet, obviously, our other show, our segment sponsor of Blue Tide Car Wash in Brookings and Watertown. And look at who it is. Oh, look at him. Just fresh as a daisy.
Sweaty as a daisy.
Blue Tide Car Wash has locations all over Sioux Falls. They have a whole tunnel wash in Brookings. They're building one in Mitchell that should be done shortly. Blue Tide Car Wash, hop on down there and get yourself a nice clean ride. They offer a ton of other services, free vacuums, dash wipe downs, all that stuff. Plus they have just the regular automatic ones as well that are at all Get and Go locations. Get yourself a membership with Blue Tide Car Wash, and that'll get you access to every one of their car washes in the area, which is really nice. There's usually a handy one just around the corner from wherever you may live in the southeastern corner of South Dakota. Ben.
I lost track of time, fellas. My bad. I was working on the patio.
That a boy. I suppose, huh?
Yeah.
That's not her name.
Off the rails already. Not even 3 minutes in, unless you consider being late. Then not even 7 minutes in.
Well, we talked about the Missouri Valley games on the B-Team podcast last night. I'll recap how we did on the picks. I went 4-7, not good. 2 weeks in, and I'm already in last place. Not feeling great about that. Brendan went 6-5. Alex went 7-4. The model had a bad week, went 3-8. And so the standings are Ben's at 10-12, Brendan's at 12-10, Alex is at 14-8, and the model's at 12-10.
I will add.
Go ahead.
Sometimes it's kind of splitting hairs. If it's off by a couple tenths of a point, well, what's
No, you don't get to duck your baby out of this one. It gets to wear it on the chin.
Sometimes I'm off by a tenth of a point too, Alex.
I don't think you are, Ben.
You don't know what 10th percentage I may or may not have had.
All right, so that's.
I don't know, Brendan. You muted yourself.
I know I did. I was trying to. I don't know if you guys can hear the TV upstairs in the background or not, so I was trying to.
No, we're good. I was yelling at my dog to stop barking while the intro was going, full disclosure. So thankfully he seems to have chilled out. But
Jim, I would absolutely crack a garage time, but those are at Chad's house, and I didn't snag some to bring home with me, so I'll have to do that this weekend or sometime this week. We got some. They're special. I'm not gonna spoil the surprise when we have them. They're gonna be awesome. We'll have them on the B team, I'm sure. So Chad and I can bust them out at the same time. Probably give you one too, Ben. I suppose if you're feeling frisky. But yeah, you don't know how how many times that my theory's been really close to being right, but not right. We don't get the model doesn't give any breaks just because it puts tenths of points on it.
I'm just saying, before Pete, you act like it's completely useless if it's different from the
No.
spread by a tenth of a
Terrible.
point.
didn't
That
say
team will
you-
3-8.
discover by one.
3-8, useless.
I just
Burn it
said
all
it.
down.
I didn't have
Start
a good
over.
week against the spread.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway, that's part of having to. That's actually the difficult part about what we do is having to pick every game no matter what.
Right. No,
And so-
I
That's the
agree.
problem.
That's part of the
Yeah.
deal.
If
Anyway,
the model is close in, if it's tenths away, maybe if you're betting the model, don't bet that game.
Right. Well, that's just a sign you probably shouldn't bet that game either way. If you are not financial advisors or gambling advisors by any means, but if you are trying to use it as such, and it is within a couple tenths of a point, that means probably don't bet on that game. Is what that means.
You do what you like.
That's-
Leo.
not what we do
Yeah.
here, though. So let's get into this week's Missouri Valley games. We've got Mississippi Valley State. Is it Delta Devils? Is that their name?
Delta Devils.
Yeah.
They're fighting Jerry Rice's.
They have a sick logo.
They go to Murray State, and Murray State is a 17.5-point home favorite.
So that's. I
That
thought
sucks.
that was too much, but the model doesn't. The model says racers are gonna glue their horse back together after Brendan hacks it apart for costing them last week, and they're gonna win by 18.8. I disagree. So if you look at any other computer models and such like that, Mississippi Valley State, not to kick them when they're down, is routinely like the bottom of the whole 270 whatever or 260 whatever in D1. There are like 262. But I think Murray State wins. I don't think they can beat anyone by 3 scores the way they looked against Butler. My lord, that was horrible.
Yeah, I don't see them beating anybody by 20 to 21 points. And we all know winning by 18 or 19 would be weird. So I'm going to go ahead and can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm that mad at Murray. I'm going to take the Delta Devils in this game. Because, and honestly, if Murray doesn't cover, they're probably worse than Western Illinois right now at any point in Western Illinois.
Yeah, I would agree.
I will take. Geez. I think I said Missouri State, but I meant Murray State.
We mean what you know.
Yep. Murray State. I mean, how do we have any confidence in them at this point? I'll go with Mississippi Valley State. I don't think Murray State can do it. Next, we've got Lindenwood going to Missouri State, actually this time, and Missouri State is favored by 27 at home.
Model.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'll say no, you're fine. I didn't know if we're changing the order or
I
not.
forgot the rhythm. That's my bad. That's on me.
Brendan's a big Missouri State fan. Eager to talk about them. Favorite CUSA team. Lindenwood on the model is favored by 25.1, so it's going to take the Lions to cover. And I agree. Spoiler alert and shameless plug. By the numbers will be out tomorrow morning on the Jackrabbit Illustrated blog. Check it out. But I wrote about that yeah, it was kind of good to see Missouri State hold up a fight against Montana. And yeah, it was pretty fun to see Missouri State put up a fight against Ball State. But if you look at how those games went, the same things that plagued them down the stretch last year are already starting to rear their ugly head, or they are a one-dimensional offense. They cannot run the ball. They've got some good athletes on the outside. All they can do is throw it, and their defense looks not great. So I think Lindenwood will keep it close. Missouri State pulls away in a shootout. I agree with the model. I'm taking the Bears. Or not the Bears. I'm taking the Lindenwood Lions to cover that 28-point spread.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. That's a lot of points. I know. I'm going to take the Bears. I don't know why. I think maybe they'll be fired up after the last game, and I think they're one of those teams that is going to lose games against better competition and hurt themselves, but against bad competition, they're going to be capable of running away with a score. So I'm going to go ahead. And is this an in-state? Lindenwood is in
St. Louis, so it is technically
it's an in-state rivalry game, which is interesting. So yeah, I'm going to take Missouri State to cover. No, I'm not. No, I take it back. I'm taking Lindenwood. Anytime I've had too many years of picking Missouri State to cover point spreads or Murray State now this year. So I'm going to stay away from both of them, and I'm going to take the Lindenwood on this.
We'll go across the board on this one. I will take Lindenwood as well. They kept it within 21 against Central Arkansas last week. And
Central Arkansas is better than Missouri State by a lot.
100%. So I'm going to go with Lindenwood there. The next game that we have is a familiar face. Western Illinois goes to Illinois State. And Illinois State's a whopping 32-point home favorite.
Model says Redbirds by 28.8. It doesn't think they've quite put enough to cover. Personally, my personal pick, this is an interesting one because Illinois State, even with their injuries, is absolutely 32 points better than Western Illinois. It is just Brock's back care enough to throw those points on the board. The thing I think I have going for him with the news today, preseason All-American back, Mason King, done for the year, not All-American, all of Missouri Valley, sorry. I think he tries to get Tommy Rittenhouse in a little bit of a rhythm. I think they throw the ball a little bit, try to get Sobkowitz some touches, try to get that connection going because Winkerswright's a good back. They're back up, but they're going to have to really rely on Rittenhouse and Sobkowitz down the stretch if they still want to do what they want to do. So Model says Leathernecks will cover. I'm saying Brock's back is going to do a very un-Brock's back thing and let them throw it all over the yard.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Alex. I think that Illinois State, even with the injuries, is going to be capable of putting up 38 points, and I don't think that Western's going to get more than a field goal.
Against Illinois State's defense, no way.
Yeah, Illinois State's defense is going to just shut them down. They're going to be going with they're going to be going strong on their defense. So we're going to go ahead and take the Redbirds there.
I think I have to as well. That's a lot of points to eat, but it's not a branch I want to go out on. I want to go with the Model against you guys, but I think I got to stick with Illinois State here. Duquesne goes to Youngstown State, who is a 29.5-point favorite at home.
Model says Youngstown by 25.7, so it's going to pick Duquesne to cover. I think I will too, just based upon nothing else other than Duquesne very nearly won the NEC and made the playoffs last year, so I think they're going to be a pretty good team, and I don't think it'll be close necessarily, but I think they can cover 4 scores.
Yep, I'm agreeing with you again here, Alex. I'm going to go with Duquesne to cover. I just don't think Youngstown State has the offensive firepower to win by 4 scores.
Man, you guys are making it tough by picking.
Are you chasing? Are you going to be chasing?
I can't
chasing wins this early in the season. Are you already sweating that hard, man?
No, I'm not. A little bit.
I see it.
But
leaving in the dust.
The problem is, I know that you're going to go over the top with the punishment this year. So, that's what I'm concerned about. But.
Or am I not going to go over the top because I don't
worry about
it? Retribution coming down the tracks when that's how you lose.
That's probably smart.
Yeah, Jesse.
I'm going to go with Duquesne here.
It is not a good slate this week.
I think that's it. Yeah, the games are getting better. I started out with the bad ones.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. There are some good games this week. We just haven't got to them yet.
There are. I'll go with Duquesne. An interesting one, Dayton going to Indiana State, and Indiana State is favored by 6.5 at home. It's at least under a double-digit spread for once.
And the model says not so fast, my friend. Trees by 9.6. I guess that's still under double digits, even just barely. Corey, that's cruel and unusual punishment. Not even going to acknowledge that for the audio
Corey.
listeners.
Calm down, Satan.
But I don't know. I haven't looked up how Dayton was last year. I know they've been decent Pioneer League wise lately, but Indiana State didn't look like complete dog water. So sure, I'll agree with the model without putting much thought into this one. Give me the chance to cover them by more than a score.
What's the line?
6.5.
6.5.
Oh, 6.5. Man, if Indiana State doesn't cover 6.5 against Dayton, maybe consider the OVC.
I think they're there, but
I am really, I'm going to go ahead and take the trees on this.
I'm tempted with the way the Pioneer League's been playing, but I'll go with Indiana State as well.
No, Dustin, the rule is we have to still be able to pick our kids up from school. You must have missed that portion.
That's
Dustin had a terrible suggestion for the punishment. We probably won't read it.
Kev Marshall says Dayton beat St. Francis. How bad is Kent State? Very. The fight in Nick Saban's not good.
They're horrendous. Yeah.
Maybe Nick Saban should unretire and resurrect his alma mater.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we've got...
I'm not going to suddenly believe that all of a sudden the Patriot League teams are good because St. Francis lost one and happened to win an FBS game, and EWU
against a bad MAC school,
and because you and I struggled. Like I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that.
The Pioneer League.
Yeah. We mean what he knew.
Yep,
we're on that phrase into the
ground. Idaho State goes to UND, who's coming off a big win. UND is favored by 13 at home.
Model says the Hawk Tuas by 15.73. I will actually divulge on this one. I think UND wins, but I think they have a little bit of an emotional hangover, and they let Idaho State hang on for 3.5 quarters when they probably shouldn't. Especially since we have not seen a passing offense at all from UND yet. Their defenses look good. Their rush offenses looked okay. They haven't thrown the ball for crap.
If anybody is the king of the letdown games, it's UND. Like, they had a hangover that lasted the rest of the year after they won the Kenkel game. So I am absolutely not, and I have not been a UND believer all year. So I am going to say Idaho State covers. I don't think they're going to win just because UND never loses in the Alaris. If this was at Idaho State, I would consider sprinkling some money on the money line for Idaho State. But it's in the Alaris. It's going to be Meltdown City over on the Fighting Sioux page or Sioux Sports, but they're going to eke it out.
I will gain one here. I'm going to take UND. I'll take them to ride the wave and win by at least a couple touchdowns here. We've got the USD Coyotes going to Portland State. USD is a 14.5-point road favorite.
Model says Yotes cover 15.6. I think this game is a little interesting because it's really going to test out. It feels weird to say after the Yotes literally played the Badgers last week. But I'm not that sold on Wisconsin's offense at this point in the year. And although Portland State's defense sucks, they do have a lot of offense they can put up. With that said, I still think USD covers. I think their size wears out the Vikings late. I agree with the model. I think the Yotes will cover this one.
That is tough because, their offense Portland State put up 30 on Washington State, but then they could only manage 16 against Weber. On the one hand,
Weber plays really good defense.
They play really good defense. I'm not sold on USD's defense being that great, and USD still, it sounds like, isn't pushing the field. They're just relying on these explosive plays. I'm going to take Portland State to cover. I've been talking about this all year as a dangerous game for the Yotes. I don't know if I don't know. I don't think they're going to win. I don't think Portland State's going to win like I used to. They're not going to be looking forward to Drake. But you play Wisconsin. That's a physical game. Might take them a quarter or a half to get rolling, plus the long road trip after the FBS game. So I'm going to go ahead and take Portland State to cover. I don't know if they're going to win. I don't know why that upsets you, Ron. It's Portland State. It's not going to damage anything that Montana State does.
14.5 is gross. If it was under 14, I'd probably consider it, but I think I gotta go Portland State as well. I just don't trust USD to score enough points. I'll go Portland State there. NDSU travels to Eastern Tennessee. NDSU is a 26-point road favorite.
Model is just barely going to take the Bison to cover 26.3. So once again, to reiterate from the beginning of the show, if you are inclined to bet and you want to use this as a resource, we do not guarantee anything. Call the number if you have a problem, but don't bet this game. I don't know. Do I want to make ETSU fans even more mad at me? I'll agree. I won't. I'll disagree with the model. Trey Lamb's a good coach. ETSU, they won't win. It won't be close, but they'll keep it closer than that.
I think ETSU is a good team. I don't know about this year.
I said good coach. I did not say good team. I think the coaching will keep them in it longer than they should be, even if that's a quarter.
I mean, the spread's 26.
Yep. 26 even. No hook.
Yeah, I think we're gonna say I think I'm gonna go with NDSU covering on the road here. I just don't think any of these games for NDSU are that difficult on their out of conference schedule. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take NDSU to cover. I hate that line with so many points, but I think they can win by 28.
I'll take it as well. I think they win by at least 30. I don't think they have a problem with Eastern Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get into the three interesting games in the Valley this week. We've got UNI going to Nebraska. Nebraska, coming off a big win, looking pretty good, is favored by 26.5 at home. It's a lot of points.
Replay, just if someone edits this cut and replay what I just said, because model says Nebraska by 26.52. So it is just barely going to take Nebraska to cover. I will too, because we talked about UND's been one-dimensional. So has UNI's air raid that's currently averaging 99 pass yards a game. And know what? Nebraska has done really good so far this year, even if their competition hasn't been super tough. Stop the run. Nebraska's given up like 30 some odd yards per game on the ground is all. UNI is not going to score a single point in this one. I would, if you could bet that whatever UNI's over under is, team over under, take the under. Nebraska will score 28 with Raiola. Nebraska covers easy. Yes. Knock off Pat Mahomes. Dustin.
At my apartment. That's funny. Should have went just with Pat my apartment there instead of my apartment. But I digress. I think, they're going to get woodshedded in this game. And because I think that the only thing that scares me is every time you think that about you and I, they pull something out of their ass and all of a sudden pull a superhero deal out, and it's going to be like a 7-10 game. We're going to go, what the hell happened? But I'm gonna take Nebraska to cover. Well, who does Nebraska play next?
I think Big Ten play starts already, but I don't know.
Illinois.
Yeah, their Big Ten
Illinois.
schedule isn't super tough this year.
Yeah, I don't think there's any concern of them looking ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Prairie Raid to be grounded, like it has been all season. They're saving. They've been. You know what it is? They've been saving the Prairie Raid for this game to shock the world. They're going to sling it around and get 450 yards passing, and we're all going to pass out from shock.
I don't like Nebraska, so this pains me, but I think I have to agree with you. I don't see you and I staying close in this one. I'll say 35-7 or something like that.
Clean sweep.
What Ray does point out here, it is true and is a large portion of why there's not
for audio listeners.
For audio listeners, Ray Gronowski says those he was changed after spring ball due to family illness, which is hopefully true. It's true. Hopefully everything works out for him. But he was the guy who was coming in with the air raid, who Ferentz had the trust to run that offense and install that. And I think kind of what happened here is that he doesn't trust the guy that they had to put in charge to try to run that offense. I got a feeling with a guy like
we keep saying Ferentz.
No, I keep saying Ferentz. My brain's locked up. Skeletor. He doesn't trust anybody besides a very special person, to run that for him. So they're back to. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if their OC's not even calling the plays. So they're back to who they are. So you and I used to be the most overrated program. The hype over Theo Day was terrible.
But
who would have said he was good? I agree with that.
Don't read MVFC by the numbers preseason preview last year. I definitely didn't talk about how you and I or Theo Day was poised for a big year.
I mean, he looked good the previous year. To be fair, I thought he was too. I don't know what happened to him.
Right.
Moving on, we've got Incarnate Word, who we just beat, goes to Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois is favored by 7 at home.
So Model is going to say Sock Lukey's cover. It has him by 9.1. Anyone else watch that SIU Austin P game? I watched it last couple nights because I was in a hotel room in Fargo with nothing else to do. So I'm still so on that offense, not because they don't have good athletes, but because their offense, I'm talking SIU here, is like the touchdown right before the half epitomizes it. Is they had like 7 seconds in the ball at the 8, so kind of ballsy to run a play to start with. You risk running the clock out. But PJ Williams scrambles out of a clean pocket into pressure, reverses field, stops, throws the ball across his body, and just so happens a receiver breaks open, last second wide open, catches the ball. That's not repeatable against good teams. I'm not trying to dog Austin P too much by saying that, but that will not work against good teams. That will not work when they get to Valley play. So a lot of people are already saying it in the comments here. UIW wins outright. I agree. Not only do they cover, I think they win. Model says Sock Lukey's cover, however.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take UIW to win outright as well, just because, I mean, they're going to have that same chip on their shoulder that they had when they came to Brookings. I think the MVFC brand brings that out in certain teams and certain conferences when you play them, and I think UIW is one of them. And they've done it before to Southern Illinois. 2 years ago, they beat Southern Illinois, if I remember right. And that was part of what catapulted them to having a seed. So
Yep.
I am taking the Cardinals. Maybe it's biased from what we saw in person. That happens to us all the time on this show where we see a team play us tough. And we're just like, well, they're pretty good.
They're good.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that's not the way it is. Sometimes the team you see on one day is not what the team is overall. But I'm going to take UIW to win. And honestly, that is a spicy meatball that there. I'm getting points. So give me the Cards.
Yeah, I love Western or UIW in this game. I think Calzada is good enough to beat Southern Illinois. I think that they score, I don't know, above 30 points, and I think they do enough to win the game. And I love getting points just in case they don't squeak it out. But yeah, UIW there.
Only thing I'll add to counterpoint what we all said is from that game, and SIU created a lot of pressure last week. They had 9 sacks, which was just crazy for one game. But a lot of it was off stunts and blitzes. A good quarterback like Calzada is going to pick that apart. If you bring extra guys, he's going to find the open guy.
I mean, he did it against us at that tunnel screen. We
Right.
had a blitz called. I mean, they happened to have the right play called, but he didn't panic. He delivered the ball. I mean, yeah, he's the real deal. All right. Jesse, JIAI is back a little bit. I just have a few to show you here. The first one, we'll see if you can guess who this is.
That's the coach for UIW.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, just had to throw one more shot across the bow to Clint Killow. He acted like a baby all Saturday, and he deserves every bit of it. Then we've got a sad Viking wondering why he scheduled this game. The Augustana Vikings, of course, predicting what's going to happen. Last but not least, I have a lot of beer being drank. There's a lot of Augustana fans that are friends with SDSU fans. It should be a great time for everybody. I encourage people that can't get a ticket to still come up and tailgate. It's going to be a big old party on Saturday. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Go watch the game at Cubby's or one of the other JI Bar Network bars if you cannot make it to Brookings with some Augie or SDSU fans. It will be a good time.
For sure. Last but not least, we've got Augustana coming to SDSU. SDSU is a 34.5 point home favorite. Curious what the model has, because I'll spoil my pick here, but I don't think it's enough points.
Model agrees. Jack's by 48.78.
Woof.
It'll be interesting because, you listen to Jimmy's radio show and press conferences and other media availability this week. He respects the crap out of Coach OJ, as does really anyone in the state. Me personally as well, I got to interact with him a little bit this year. Went to Sioux Empire officials camp, and Augie coaches kind of use that as a little bit of recruiting because they bring some area high schools in. And he's over one of our fields one time just talking a little bit. Super nice, super cool guy. So I think we have to be up by more than that at halftime for that to cover. But I do think that happens. I think we are, knowing we still got some stuff to clean up. The boys are sharp. They're ready to go. And we click some of that off. Our second string quarterback is very good, Ron. Actually, he'd probably start for 8 Valley teams.
Yeah. I hate these spreads. I hate doing these games. I hate these spreads. And it's a blackout. We all remember how every game goes in the damn black jerseys.
Not when at home. When we wear them away, the 2 times we have, it actually has gone very well. Who can forget the Chase Vinatieri fake field goal against Montana State in the Gold Rush
Right.
game when we wore our blacks. Sorry, Ron.
Is this a road game?
No, it is not.
All right then. So 35. 35 points for the spread.
34.5. 34.5. Yep.
Essentially.
Make it 35. You know what? We never come out firing in the black jerseys. We just don't.
I don't
We don't.
disagree.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I thought you were going to break your streak, but sounds like you're going to keep it going.
I broke it last season. What happened? That was a heart stopper of a game, if I remember correctly. So, no, I'm going to say Augie covers. You know, we still win rather comfortably eventually, but, you know, I think it's more in the 28-point range than the 35 to 36-point range that we win.
I will take SDSU to cover. Jim mentioned it. A 50 Butterburger is on the way. He said hashtag 50 burger. Garrett said 52-7. Seth Meyer said 45-7. But yeah, I think we do enough to cover. As long as we don't give up some late crazy score or something to give up the spread, I think we'll be just fine. Speaking of 50 Butterburger, do we need to talk about anybody?
No.
Nope.
No,
Okay.
I mean, we can talk about Blue Tide Car Wash again, or Cubbies. But Cubbies is a show sponsor. We talked about them already. Blue Tide Car Wash is the segment sponsor, and we talked about them. But we can go back over them and how
no,
Kubota
it's fine.
is the title sponsor.
I got
10 locations. Did you know in South Dakota?
I got to see a lot of
cool.
Kubotas the last couple of days being at the Big Iron Farm Show. A lot of nice pieces of Kubota equipment sitting around.
Big Iron. Did they keep the heaters on in that barn?
Oh my God. So for those that don't know what Brendan's talking about, I sent Brendan and a couple other buddies a snap. Our booth for the company I work for was across from a guy trying to sell heaters on a 90-degree day inside a horse barn. Needless to say, in the afternoon, I left our booth and went and walked around to prospective customers instead of letting them come to us because it was getting toasty in there. Who's trying to sell heaters on a 90-degree day? That guy was, evidently.
Did he sell any?
Like, no. He sold like one in the morning. He sold a couple this morning before I had to head out, and our sales guy took over for me so I could get back here and work on some things. And yeah, I got one thing to add. I know there's a certain head football coach that sometimes listens to this show, and he did not help me out by running the cover play last week. I know you're a really upstanding guy, and that's not your style, but I would have appreciated you running the cover play to get me a game last week. So if it comes down to that and you're thinking about that, whoever that football coach may be, if you could do that, I'd appreciate it.
You did good enough.
There's
You're fine.
no beseeching coaches to affect late covers in these huge spread games to pump your stats. Get out of here with that.
I'm going to get him in a lawsuit or something.
Oh my God. Yeah, no shit.
I didn't name names.
Doesn't matter. What's wrong with y'all?
Anyway, with that, we should probably get going. Thanks everybody for listening. As we tell you all the time, like, share, follow, do all the things, subscribe. Helps us out, and it if you let people know about it, it helps too. So with that, like Jim says, like we always say, go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Go Jacks.